bring in our own Ashley Webster, who joins us now along with Cato Institute Senior Fellow Dan Mitchell. And Ashley, certainly those meetings with auto executives today, to Blake's point, the first real industry that he seems to be focusing on. But can the auto industry deliver jobs when we might see a projected slowdown in vehicle sales in 2017?
That's a very good point, Cheryl. We've come off some bumper numbers for the auto industry, but what do? Do you punish these companies that produce especially small cars in Mexico because it's the cheaper way to go? Or do you have to hike your prices and then become, less competitive with the other automakers around the world? It's a difficult one. It's the automakers and the retailers, I believe, who get a lot of their products brought in from overseas, the Walmarts and the Targets and so on, that will also be hurt badly by this so-called border adjustment tax or tariff or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, Dan, that is a fair point there. The economics of a border tax, the economics of the tariffs that Donald Trump, the president, is talking about now, in particular with automakers. I mean, we have manufacturing in the United States, but a lot of that manufacturing still is in Mexico, and that does keep prices cheaper for the American consumer. That's a push-pull. How do we reconcile that?
Well, the first thing to understand is that there are actually two different proposals out there. Trump is talking about just old-fashioned tariffs, and Republicans in the House, as part of their tax reform plan, have this so-called border adjustable tax, which would mean a 20% tax on everything imported into the country. And that has, of course, retailers and other people very agitated. Here's my bottom line in terms of jobs and manufacturing. Trump has this carrot and stick approach. He's saying we're going to lower the corporate tax rate. We're going to do other things to roll back the regulatory burden. My view is if he does everything in the carrot pile, he doesn't need to do the stick pile. We don't need to run a risk of a repeat of the 1930s with protectionism if he simply gets rid of the bad government policy that hurts the American economy right now.
Ashley, you agree with that?
I do. I mean, in a perfect world, they'll all take the carrot, won't they? And won't be forced to feel the sting of the bat. The question is it realistic? I, like anyone else, would love to have all the manufacturing jobs come back here, good paying jobs. Don't want people having 3 part-time jobs. We want people to have good, full benefits, full-time jobs. The question is, can these industries do it and remain competitive? If they can, all the better. Well,
Dan, and that's an interesting point about the auto industry in particular. The last 2 years have been good years, but gas prices have been lower. We are expecting, in particular, thanks to OPEC, we're going to see higher prices this year in 2017. And the auto industry has been hiring. They have now hired 50% since the bottom of the financial recession. They have now brought back all of those jobs. I mean, that's where we're at today. But can they be pushed much higher if the sales aren't going to be there, if the customers aren't going to be there?
Two things to focus on, I think. First, some bad news. In the long run, we are losing manufacturing jobs everywhere, not just the United States, China, Europe, Japan, simply because of productivity, automation, robots. And so even if we had the best policy in the world, we're probably not going to have as many manufacturing jobs 10 years from now as we do now. But that's in some sense a testament to the efficiency and innovation of industry all around the world. But here's the good news. Might as well sort of end with a happy story here. If Trump succeeds in rolling back some of the anti-energy policies we saw during the Obama years, it doesn't matter what OPEC tries to do. OPEC can only succeed as a cartel if they actually control all the supply. But the U.S. is now such a major producer, and we've had some deregulation and more competition. I don't think OPEC really has that great power. So if we have low energy prices, if we fix some of the terrible warts in our tax system, I think the future can be reasonably bright.
And we've seen some key energy names actually on the markets today moving higher thanks to that executive order from the president restarting the pipelines for Dakota and for Keystone. So that's some good news as well for market participants. Ashley, Dan, thank you very much for your perspective. And Intelligence Report will be right back.